Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGenEd. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts. And so this is Crypto Corner Sat Stacker for Saturday, September 13th. Going to be going over 21 different cryptocurrencies. Going to be taking one of them off the list though, so I won't be following up next Saturday. Yeah, I think things are looking pretty exciting. The theme for this week is just simply higher because I think that we're going to be putting in some new all-time highs across the crypto market. And I think this is really like the beginning of alt season. Yeah, I'm excited. And to celebrate alt season, most of this stuff is based around ETH. So just kind of moving down the ladder a little bit, I got a meme here this week from Litecoin from this morning saying good morning. And it's just a guy waking up to a bunch of green. So I think that's kind of the season that we are in now. Very exciting to see where things are going. And just to give kind of a summary of my thesis, which really started Crypto Corner Sat Stacker, it's based around this video, which focused on celebrating Easter. So happy Easter. And that came out on 4/20, which was Easter this year. And there is the URL link in the description of this video if you'd like to check it out. And that was around the time, I believe, at the time that I took the screenshot in the background when ETH bottomed right around 1400. And I had the thesis that that was coming into some support from the highs from 2017 and that this could be going up to 8,000 by the end of the year based on the linear y-axis in the background connecting the prior highs. That would suggest that 8,000 is a reasonable price target for the end of the year. If you do adjust that to the log scale, price target could be anywhere between 10 and 20,000 or so by the end of the year. So feeling pretty bullish about ETH, and I think that will kind of, propagate throughout the crypto space. So yeah, just feeling really good about that. And if you do want a further breakdown of my my thesis here. I do go over that in I used to go over it in my Crypto Corner Sat Stackers. Just took a little bit too much time. I will include a link in the description of this video to the most recent one where I did go over that thesis, really just kind of like managing savings, managing risk, all of that. So it's really not that interesting, but maybe it's valuable to you guys. But yeah, anyways, let's move over to the list of the 21 different cryptos. And before I get into the individuals, just kind of wanted to do an overview of what happened last week. So effectively, I had planned to place some orders to dip buy PENGU and XLM, but I ended up not placing those orders. I just didn't have that much cash in my account last week. I got paid yesterday, so now I'm a little bit more flexible for the next couple of weeks. But last week was a little tight. Did not place those orders, but we didn't dip to those levels. One level that we did hit was Fartcoin. I had a limit sell just to trim my position, just to be managing that risk at 94.2 cents. Just having fun with approximately 95 being the target, I believe. But then, rounding that down to make a 420 on there. That was hit this morning. I believe it went up to around 97 cents. So I could have made a little bit more money on that, but the important thing is managing risk. When I get down to that ticker, we'll be talking about the level to buy back what I had trimmed just to be, having fun in alt season, cycling up and down. And then I did have a bunch of orders that I wanted to place, but I didn't have the cash to do them. Some of them from last week, from the week before, I kind of regret not adding, but this is all about managing risk. This is all about keeping a clear head. And so the orange here does suggest that I've been doing that, although I have been tempted. And then also managing that risk and managing not taking too much out of savings, for this and, keeping savings in check. I did trim some of my Ethereum Classic, and as well, I also trimmed some of my Uniswap. And the one that's going to be off the list next week is actually XLM or Stellar Lumens. And, I just, I don't have as much conviction in that. I just don't hear that much about it. It's not one that's easy for me to store on my Trezor hardware wallet. So I decided to take that one off the list just to have that cash and to keep the list to a maximum of 20 tickers. And on the note of the hardware wallet Trezor, they do have a sale currently going on where it's 50% off either the Model 1 or the Model T, which are two of their older models of hardware wallets. I do have a Model 1. It doesn't hold all of the coins and tokens that are on this list, but I have been happy with Trezor, although recently I have had some issues with their software in that, or the download suite that they have. And so I had to go to their website to use the suite on there. And that was fine, but I had some issues. I had to move some stuff around, which I don't know if that's a bug or what it is. And yeah, so like other than that, and like a few other small things, I mean, any product, there's nothing's perfect. I've had a great experience with them, and I have the Trezor Model 1 and I have the Trezor Safe 3 for storing my coins off exchange, managing that. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say with that little bit of an intro. Maybe there's something I missed, but I'll get into that, I'm sure, as we go down the list. But first, to begin with the leader on the list, that is going to be Bitcoin, ticker symbol BTC. I'm going to populate the market cap over here. So just flipping over here, I zoomed in on it, so it's a little bit easier for you guys to see. Bitcoin is, of course, number one, and they got a market cap of $2.3 trillion. And so hopefully that copied, and I can paste that here. And we can see that from last week, it did go up. So last Saturday, the market cap was $2.2 trillion. Now we're up over 2.3, so looking really good there. And then coming over to this list, I also updated this a little bit. I didn't realize I could do like the watch list on the side. So I've got all of our coins there, although I forgot to order them in the correct way. So I will have to make some adjustments as we go down the list. But anyways, what I wanted to get from here was the closing price from yesterday. So Friday, September 12th, the closing price was 116.106.03. So 116.106.03, I believe. Did I say 03? Yep, so that should be right. And so it looks like for that, as you can see where the cursor is, I personally am up about 21% of my position. My average is just under 96,000. It goes up every week because I do daily dollar cost averages of $40. Kind of a lot. Maybe it's a little. I don't know. It depends on you. But very soon, perhaps, I believe in like a month, I'm effectively going to be hitting the target that I had for the year, which, to be honest, I didn't think I was going to hit. And so after that point, I'm probably going to reduce these additions to, depending on where Bitcoin's price is. If it's making new all-time highs, it'll be pretty low additions. If it's not making all-time highs, then I'll probably do like cut this in half, 20 or something like that. But for now, $40 daily cost averages with Strike, and all of these exchanges, links in the description, as well as some other exchanges. If you are curious to explore them, use my link. We both get a little bit of something for it, but no pressure there. But yeah, let's look at the chart, look at the levels that I had highlighted here. So 104 was the downside level, which I don't believe was hit. And let's see, over the past week, over the past week, Bitcoin really just went up, stair-stepping up from last Saturday. The low on the day was $109,993, so effectively like 110. And we really just went up from there, having hit the high yesterday of 116,833.25. And so we haven't hit the support or the resistance level that I was talking about. And so let's think about 104. Why did I have that level? And that would be because of the 618 here. Wait, actually, no, that's 108. So I'm going to have to take a step back. That would be because of the 786 here, 104, right around there. And that retracement is based on the lows from June 22nd going up to the highs right around there from August 14th. And actually since, what am I thinking? Do I want to extend this forward, or to be honest, don't think I need to extend this forward because actually, no, I think that, there is still a possibility that we could head down. I'll explain my rationale in just a second, but yeah, I'm going to extend this forward maybe for one more week, and then maybe next week I'll move it back if it looks like we're really taking off. But so my thought process here is it does seem like we have a lot of confluence of levels around, let's see, the 382 here, that's around 115 or 114,500, somewhere around there. That also seems to correspond with the 50-day simple moving average, which is at 114,543. And so those are two levels, the 382, the 50-day simple moving average, and then also this orange trend line seems to be right around that level. If we take a step back, we can see what that originates from. We actually have to go back pretty far in time. It looks like it's the highs from the end of 2017 intersecting with the tops from 2021, and as well the tops from the end of 2024, beginning of 2025. And so I think that level, is going to be an important one for us to hold now that we have broken back above it. We had broken above it here, retested that 50-day simple moving average as well, then bounced to higher highs, but then with that, higher highs in the stock price, lower highs in the RSI, so that's bearish divergence. Following that, we get this retracement to the 618. Now we are bouncing. So I think that like 115, which is just like just like $1,000 lower than where we're currently at, I think that's going to be an important level. But if it breaks, if we get maybe a fake out breakdown below, I think that like 112, effectively this 50% level, could be acting as support. Also, that does seem to correspond with like the consolidation highs over here. Maybe you could see like a little bit of an inverse head and shoulders pattern there. And so somewhat like that neckline, 115, I think that could be acting as support if we do break down below that 50-day simple moving average. So that would be like the downside target that I could see for Bitcoin. Might be a nice level to consider adding there. And I do 115, but maybe I should do 115 because it's 115,000. So that seems like it to me. I don't plan on, I need to highlight the alerts here because I need to place those, but I don't plan on trimming or adding at these specific levels. Just doing the daily dollar cost average, so nothing too exciting there. But then resistance up to the upside, 135,000. I imagine I'm not going to change that because we haven't tested it, but we can kind of look at, where I get that number from. And that's just going to be from a Fibonacci extension, actually multiple Fibonacci extensions. And so we can see this one over here, which looks like it goes back to the lows from April. So when I started to do these weekly videos, and then going up to the highs from May, and then pulling back to the lows over here from June. That gets us a 100% extension up to around 135. So that's consistent with what I have there. But then this other one, maybe this is one that I want to adjust. This is on the shorter, time frame. And let's just see here. Just drag that down so we can see it a little better. This goes from the low of June 22nd up to the high from August 14th. And then back down to, the lows that we hit. So yeah, I'm just going to drag that forward into the future. And so that's around 133, but with that other one, it's all approximate. I think like 135. I don't plan on selling there. I don't plan on trimming there. Or, maybe if something changes, I will. Maybe I would consider trimming a little bit there. But I'd like to continue stacking. I like to continue building my position. So I'm just going to continue to do that on a daily basis. Nothing too exciting about that. But, this is one that I've changed. So I've got to adjust that alert. So I will be doing that. And then now that we've gotten Bitcoin out of the way, we can get into some of the alts. And of course, we're going to be beginning with the leader of the alts, which is Ethereum, ticker symbol ETH. And so let's come over to Coin Market Cap, ranked number 2. Maybe that swaps with Bitcoin. Maybe some of these other ones swap with Ethereum. I kind of doubt that, to be honest, but it is possible. And so, the market cap for ETH looks like it's over $500 billion. And so let's throw that in here. And looks like that did go up over the past week. Market cap last week was also above $500 billion, but it was closer to that 5 than it is now. Now it's actually, getting rounding. We'd round that up to $600 billion. So I think that's great. That's exciting. We are going higher, and I suspect to new all-time highs. But in order to look at that, let's look over at the chart of ETH to see where it closed at on Friday, September 12th. The closing price was 471466, so 471466, and it looks like I'm up about 84% on that. I was up nearly 100% a couple weeks ago, but it's pulled back. But over last week it did go up, so feeling good about that. Continuing to do the $40 daily $40 daily dollar cost averaging of ETH. Don't have any dip buys placed for either Bitcoin or Ethereum. Just casual, very boring DCAing. And my average, it looks like, is sub 2,600. But yeah, let's think about some of these levels that I have noted here, one being the support at 3,900. And so, I don't think that's going to be hit. And if we do look at the chart here, let's see, why did I pick 3,900? And so we do have, this white line here. It's one that I drew that corresponds with like the consolidation highs over here. Also the tops over here. From the end of 2024, and some rejections over here. And that's actually not a horizontal line, as you can see. As I step back, we can see that's kind of an approximate trend line. And that will be suggesting that price could be getting to around $3,800, $3,900. That also corresponds approximately with this 382 in blue here. You probably can't see it too well. I'm just going to drag that forward so we can see those numbers a little bit better. But yeah, the 382 is just below 3,900. So that's kind of why I have, confluence there. Kind of makes sense. 3,900. However, if you notice over the past week, as we were consolidating here around the 236, which is at around 42 to 4,300, we did find that as support, and that's also above the 50-day simple moving average. And that is currently at, it looks like 4,232. So that is going to be, does seem like it was and has been acting as support. Maybe we get a retest of that though before going higher. So yeah, I'm kind of wondering, do I want to adjust my support level? Thus far we have seen 4,200, 4,300 acting as support. So I think that should be adjusted, that level to the downside, especially with that moving average there. I think that it's greedy, hoping that Ethereum is going to be going down to 4,000 or below. So I'm going to adjust that over here to 4,200, and I don't plan on trimming or aggressively buying there if that does happen, but I will adjust that alert. And then resistance to the upside going to be around 5,100. Maybe I want to change that. I'm not really sure, but that is, as you can see, going to be based on this 100% extension from the lows of June up to the highs of July, and then back down to, I guess, the lows of August, at the beginning of August. That 100% move is going to be around $5,100 to $200. But I could actually see price going higher than that. And the reason for that is just because of like how long we've been consolidating here. So that would make me think that the 1618 is the next potential level. That's around $6,289. Or let's just round that down to 6,000. But since we haven't gotten to 5,100, I am just going to leave that there, but maybe I will drag this forward into the future so we can see that. And yeah, Longer term is my view with Ethereum, not like on a weekly basis. So on a weekly basis, I think 5,100, I think that's fine. Longer term, I think that this is getting up to 8,000. So yeah, I would have a target more so of 6,000 than 5,100. But for next week, for thinking about this on the shorter term, let's leave that one alone. And let's see, anything else that I want to add? I mean, one thing that I've been thinking about, considering Bitcoin, considering Ethereum, is do I start to reduce this daily dollar cost averaging that I've been doing? And I think the answer is no. The reason for that is because I'm still accumulating Bitcoin. I want to continue to add. And as far as Ethereum goes, it hasn't hit 8,000. And so I want to keep doing that. And I think that now is really the time to be maintaining stuff like this. And later, maybe once we get up to 6,000, to stop buying, maybe start trimming. But now I think good to be focusing on these. So if this is compromising, adding to these, maybe I do, or maybe I just want to spread myself a little bit thinner. And so that's the way I'm going to go. This is DGen Ed. I got to lean into that DGen. And so I'm going to add a little bit more to this, and kind of by managing that risk, I'm going to be trimming a little bit more of my Ethereum Classic, hopefully in profit, not at break even, but yeah, that's going to be kind of my way to do that. Rather than stopping the buys here, I'm going to be trimming one that I have too much exposure to, which is Ethereum Classic. But anyways, we're not going over that one. The next one on the list is Dogecoin, ticker symbol DOGE. So let's check out the market cap for that one. Ranked number 8 over here, which I find pretty crazy that it's above Litecoin, it's above Cardano and Chainlink. But, you know, that's Dogecoin. And yeah, so pretty exciting. Anyways, though, the market cap looks like it's, I got to copy that, nearly $45 billion. And let's see, that did go up over the past week. It was at like $32.5 billion last week. Now it's at over 44.5. So looking excellent there, looking really good. Very curious to see what percentage I am up. So in order to look at that, we're going to have to check out the price over here. Closing price from Friday. Wow, that looks like it's taken off now. I believe my level that I had was 31 cents, and the high so far today, 30.74. So pretty spot on with that, but we'll have to talk about that in a second because I need that closing price from Friday, September 12th. And that was at 27.51. So 27.51. 54% up, so feeling good about that, man. I'm glad that I've been, you know, buying, I've been aggressive. I've also been holding. That's key. But yeah, let's look at these levels. I did mention 31 cents, also 20 though. So let's consider that the level to the downside, 20 cents. What was the low that we saw last week? So Saturday, Saturday over here, the 6th. That low was 21.25, so 20 did not get hit. And considering that, wow, it looks like we broke out of this trend line that I drew. Maybe we do pull back to retest that as support. So, you know, maybe that is something good to consider. And actually, you know, maybe that makes me think maybe I should trim some and then I could buy back here and then just kind of be in and out, you know, being dynamic in the position. So maybe that's something to consider, but at the same time, you know, I think that Doge is going to like be going to $1 or at least 69 cents. So maybe it's not just yet the time to be trimming. That is also based on, you know, a level that I have drawn rather than an extension. So yeah, maybe this is just kind of a coincidence that it seems like I really nailed that level. But yeah, the level that I would think is this downtrend that seems to correspond pretty well with the 50-day simple moving average, which is currently at 22.57 cents. And so let's just round that up, also kind of corresponding with the 382 here. That is around 23 cents. So let's adjust the dip level here to be 23 cents. And is that one that I would want to buy? Maybe. But I definitely do need to adjust the alerts. So, you know, in that I'm not putting order there. I would, you know, just think about it. And that would really correspond with what I do with my RLC position. I'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, 23 does seem like it could be support. And so like I could see something like this happen, kind of like it goes up here, gets rejected, pulls back, and then it goes up. Something like that. So don't be surprised if we get rejected around 31, but also maybe there's some other levels that we could be going to the upside. So I do have this 100% extension here at 33 cents. That's based on the lows from June 22nd, highs from July 21st, and then the lows from, it looks like, August 3rd. And I'm just going to extend that into the future a little bit. And yep, 33 cents there. But I actually think that we could be going higher. It also does look like, I mean, this is maybe an argument that we're bumping into resistance, tops here. And so now coming into that. So yeah, I mean, I could see something like this happening, but maybe we don't get a full pullback there. This is something like you draw this line, you see, okay, that's resistance. And then you see this moving average, you see this, you game plan it out or, whatever. And then that doesn't happen. And so you trim up here. Don't buy back down here because it doesn't go down there. Because I feel like, over here, 24, 25, maybe that could be acting as support. Then you get left behind. Or if you exit here, then you get left behind. But yeah, let's just think about another level 2, the upside. That will be the 1618, and that's going to be around 42.19 cents. Okay. Yeah, and so that's around 4.420 cents. So I kind of like that number. Also kind of corresponds with the consolidation highs over here. But if we do just that y-axis, yeah, I mean, that seems pretty reasonable. But for this, I think that, maybe we consolidate here and then break through it. And actually, just thinking about that, maybe that's something interesting we can draw here. A Fibonacci extension. So going from the low, I don't know, maybe I want to do it from over here to up here. No, that's not how I want to draw it. Maybe something like that. Where does that put us? I think that's the one I just drew. That's around the same, So yeah, maybe we are going to consolidate here. Maybe we just rip some faces off. I have no idea. So with that being said, I'm not really too convinced that 31 is going to be that notable of a level of resistance. But actually, since we did get there, maybe I do want to extend this up. Maybe I want to extend this up to 42 cents. Or maybe just like, blow off top here to like 33, then we consolidate and then we move up to 42. So it's like, could trim at 33, then maybe buy back at 30 and then, see it right up to 42. So I'm going to adjust that high to be 33 cents. And I am going to make this text red because I don't, support. No, that is one that I would consider buying there. Sorry. But I would not plan on trimming at 33. So I will leave that red. But yeah, I'm not placing any orders, but I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking I might place some orders if that support level is hit. But yeah, I think that Doge is really going to be taken off. So I'm excited about that. And the only reason why I would really be buying $100 worth of Doge is if we do see a pullback on the next one, or if I do trim on the next one and then I buy back some more to keep that in balance. And so the next one on the list is going to be iExec, which is ticker symbol RLC, one of the more speculative ones on the list. It was ranked sub 400 for a while in the coin market cap. Last week, I believe it was in the 300s. Let's see where it's at now. It hasn't really been performing that well the past week or two, but I think it's really just been consolidating after it has really started to pick up steam. So let's see where that is. And so looking at coin market cap, scrolling down to the very bottom of the list, ranked number 363, iExec, ticker symbol RLC, a market cap of right around $111 million. So it's a pretty small one. And let's see, that did go down. Like I said, hasn't really been performing that well lately. And so last week, the market cap was 117. Now it's at 111. And then if we do look over at the price of that one, the next one on the list, to check out the closing price from Friday. And look at this. I mean, it's just really woken up above the 50-day moving average there. So that's looking pretty good. But yeah, the closing price from yesterday, Friday, September 12th, was 127.39. So 127.39. And the price actually looks like it went up, but probably marginally. As you can see, it's, really just been kind of flat the past week. And so 127.39, it was 123.59. Yeah, we can't see that it's, a little bit red. It's kind of interesting when, the market cap and the price are not matching, whether up or down. So that's kind of interesting, but it's a pretty small one. It's a very small market cap. So the difference there is not very large. But anyways, with that one, I am down 18% on my position. My average is 156. So, as you can see, I am in the red. Support levels, though, that I might want to buy at, and then trim levels to the upside or resistance levels. I do have multiple levels, I believe, for this one that I'd be interested to trim at. But let's first look at that support at 112. Do I think we're going back there? I mean, we could get a flush down to around, the levels here. So that's really just going to be based on, I think, kind of a compromise between, let's see if I just extend this over into the future. If I just extend that, we can see the 786 is around 115. We got the 50-day moving average there around 19, 110. So kind of like split the difference, 112. I was thinking, and also over here, there's kind of like the highs over here. It's around 107. Actually, it's a little bit lower there. Maybe the high from over here. So Friday, August 22nd, the high was 110. So yeah, I mean, let's see. The low from September 1st was 114.36. So yeah, maybe we sweep that low, go to 112. And so I feel like that's a compelling level to buy at, to add, even though I'm pretty well exposed to this one already, but just trying to get that average down, take advantage of dips. So 112, it looks like I probably have an order placed there to dip by there. Maybe not though. But I do believe so at 112. Just set it and forget it type of deal. And then resistance levels and or additionals where I would plan on trimming further up the line. So resistance at 220, 242, and 290. So let's look at some of those levels. And let's see. So can't see any of them with it right here. And actually the high from August 28th was 196.37, so almost to $2. So, getting up to 220 would be the next level, and that is going to be based on, looks like Fibonacci extension that I've got drawn over here, and that is kind of just based on, I'm going to zoom in on the chart. I'm just going to extend, let's see if I can, nope, I gotta click on this, and then hopefully I can click on the dots. Nope. I gotta do this. This is, sorry, I'm fumbling with this. Why? Clearly. Okay, so I think I just need to be a little bit better about my zooming in here. All right, so got that there. Why? Clearly, I'm not going for that. Maybe I just want to adjust. Oh, it's because it's locked. I'm an idiot. So let's just extend that forward in time. That 3 point, let's do it at 310. Hopefully that's Further in the future, yeah, a little bit into the future, 221.51 is that 100% extension. And so that is going from the low of August 2nd up to the high when it kind of squeezed August 28th, or really August 27th into 28th, and then a pullback to, as you can see, around the 786, or really like the low that we saw there, kind of piercing that level. And I might, just leave it like that. And so considering that, adjusting this y-axis, 221, so that's really like the first level. Let's see, where did that? Yep, so the low, so that makes sense. And then the next level, let's see, I'm just kind of like scrunching this. Oh, right here, 230, it's going to be that downtrend. So let's just take a step back and look at that. It's this yellow trend line, kind of like the tops going back in time that we have broken above, but would have been a good time to sell here. It did pull back a lot. Would have been a good time to sell, pulled back a lot. And even though it spent a lot of time above there, would have been a good time to sell at that level, or a good level to sell at would be that line. And so that's over here. That's around 230, and that's really just a trim, just to manage that risk. Oh, why did I say 242, not 230? That's probably because I initially drew that when it was like over here, like 240 or something, and just rounding it up, having fun. Gotta have fun with the numbers. So yeah, I could see that. And then the next one up here around 290, I've got this like horizontal yellow line kind of corresponding with the tops over here from the end of 2024. And then also the 1618 around 290 or just below. So yeah, I think that those levels are all fine to trim. I'm not going to adjust them. I'm actually just going to leave all of this alone. And then if that 112 is hit, if that is filled, then I would add to my Doge position. But first we need to get, or not first, but it would be nice to trim and then add back. And if actually I trim and then this level gets hit, then I wouldn't need to buy more Doge to keep it above RLC in the list. So yeah, hopefully these do get hit. But if they don't, I'd be happy to add a little bit more, because why not? Getting very close to my average, and I have a lot of confidence at this point that will be filled. And we can see here that I do have a $100 dip buy placed at 112 for RLC. But anyways, not to get dyslexic or anything, but let's look at the next one on the list, which is going to be ticker symbol, which is going to be the next one on the list, which is going to be Loopring, ticker symbol LRC. And so let's check out the market cap for that one. Also going to be very small, just like RLC. And so Loopring ranked 307, so they're both in the threes now, so that's pretty interesting. But yeah, Loopring has a market cap of almost $38 million. Let's see if that went up or down over the past week. And it looks like it did go up. So last week, market cap was 135. Now it is 138. So it's great to see. And we'll have to see what the price is looking like now, or I should say from Friday. And it looks like it's going up. It looks like it's pulled back to sub that 618 and could be bouncing. So that's looking good. And so anyways, the closing price from Friday, September 12th, was at 9.84 cents. So 9.84, there we go. And so that actually went down last week. We can see that it was at 996. Now it's at 984. But actually now it's above 10 cents. Now is a key word. So that's looking good. That's looking like a bounce. And so let's just think about like the levels that I had over here. 9 cents. Did we hit that last week? It looks like the low was around 9.5 cents. 9.48 hit on Tuesday. And so, I think the bottom is in there. And it does seem like this is going to be going higher, and we can do a little bit of a Fibonacci extension there to see where it could be going to the upside. But why did I pick 9 cents? Probably because you can see that 50-day simple moving average there right around 9 cents, actually at 9.13 cents. I don't think that is going to be acting as support, because I don't think it's going to be getting tested as support. But actually, maybe we do get a, maybe this is a fake out breakout and we get a shakeout before, the actual breakout. So maybe 90 cents, maybe I want to do like 92. Maybe I want to do 93, because like the low over here, what was I saying for Tuesday? The low was 9.48 cents, and the 786 here is at 9.22 cents, so 90.3 would be above that. So I think that's one that I want to adjust. And so I'm going to adjust that to 9.3 cents. It's possible, though, I can't do that many decimal places in Coinbase for this. So I will have to consider that. But I do need to adjust that. I do need to adjust the alerts, and I do need to place that order. So good to note. And then the resistance level, this is one that, I had moved the majority of my LRC off of my wallet into the exchange so I could trim the majority of my position at 1452, but maybe I want to do it incrementally, kind of like what I was doing with RLC. If we're getting into alt season and I'm already exposed to this risk, why not try to make some money with it and not just trim completely at 1452. But yeah, so let's see, where does that 1452 come from? Let's see, 1452. That is, based on my average. That's going to be based on my average. I remember doing this. So if I consider my average for LRC at 0.0968 cents, and I multiply that by 1.5, so that would be like a 50% gain. That's 1452. So I think that's great, but maybe I want to trim at some other levels to the upside. Actually, no, that's a pretty nice move up to here. That's the 1618, not the 100% extension. And that is based on, let's see, the low from June 22nd, the high from July 21st, and then pulling back to the lows from the beginning of August. That 1618 is at around 15 cents. So I think 1452 is a great level to trim pretty aggressively at that. But, since it does look like we have had this upside move, we have pulled back and consolidated, maybe I want to consider doing another fib extension here. Going from the lows here, really just like following this pullback to the lows there, then up to this high, and then extend that forward based on the lows over here. That could give us an idea of where this could be going. And so that is suggesting what I just drew, that it could be going up to around 13 to 14 cents. So that's the 100% is at 13.7 cents. So I think that like my 1452 is reasonable. I don't think it's getting too greedy, like going up to like above 16 cents, which would be the 1618. This is an older 1618. Also, there's this other 1618, which is when we were putting in, we started to break out and then put in a lower low. That's also around 15 cents. So I think that 1452, I think that's still good. And so that is kind of an odd number. Really, it's just like 15 cents or 14 cents in that range. And that just works for me for a 50% gain. So I'm going to leave that alone. The only thing that I'm going to do is just adjust that support level, because maybe I want to get a little bit more aggressive there, because I do think that this level will get hit and, might as well be buying on dips. That's the whole idea. So feeling good about that. And yeah, I don't think I have too much else to say on that. And so now let's look over at the next one on the list, which is going to be Ondo, ticker symbol ONDO. And I believe this one's been performing really well over the past week, but I think a lot of them have, so we'll have to check that out. But yeah, the market cap, let's find out where this one is at. So Ondo ranked number 37, about $3.5 billion market cap. And so let's populate that here. And, went up over the past week, like I said. So it's about 3.5 right now. Last week, Ondo was around $2.8 billion. So very nice, going up a good amount there. And now let's check out the price for Ondo, the closing price. Well, look at that big move. Yeah, maybe topping a little bit now. And so, and this is actually, maybe this is an interesting idea that we could explore, but I'll get into that in a second, kind of trading for the week. But yeah, the close from Friday, September 12th, that was at a price of 110,156. So 110,156. Price did go up. Looks like I'm up about 24% on that position. My average is 89 cents. And so, yep, feeling good about that. And so one thing that I might do, I mean, like $7 isn't a lot. I do have, hundreds of dollars worth of Ondo. So maybe I could do something more aggressive. And then like for a trim, which I don't have a trim planned here, I have 138 marked there. Where did it go up to? Just like 110. It did get up to higher highs. So yeah, this is interesting. 138, I'll talk about the highs. I need to first go over the lows. But very cool, very cool. I've got these lines yellow. I kind of want to make them white because I feel like yellow suggests maybe a little bit of bias or something. Caution, something like that. But yeah, over here we do have kind of this trend line that we broke above, and talking about it, might as well do it. We broke above it. We broke above that 50-day simple moving average. That's at like 96 or 97 cents. Trend line right there, so that looks really good. Had pulled back to breaking below not only the 50-day simple moving average, but also that 50% retracement, that green line there at around 89.6 cents. And we respected that. And then we've broken out. So I could see, something like this, a retest and then a launch. But I could also see that this doesn't come down all the way to there. Maybe it stops around like 105 and then continues higher. So, 138. I think that could be the trim level. And that is, I can just extend this over. That is based on the lows from June 22nd, the highs from July 22nd, it looks like. And then the lows hit on September 1st. But actually, no, that's the lows hit on August 2nd. Because we put in higher lows here. And so from that Fib extension, the 100% is around 138. So I think that's a good level to trim. If I wanted to trim, it looks like from this, I don't plan on trimming there. Maybe what I would, kind of thinking about what happened with RLC, like if I go back to this, that like broke past the 100%, hit the 1618 and then pulled back. Oops. Yeah, that's what I want to do. So maybe what I'd want to do with this, sorry, I'm going back and forth. I want to come back to the chart here. Maybe what I'd want to do is like, I could trim it like 169 if it does really, yeah, because like, look at this, it broke out. Let's compare that with over here. Had that, I mean, that just kind of went up, it's crazy. But yeah, I mean like 169, and that would be about 100% for me. I think that could be a level to trim. And maybe I want to move some on to the exchange to do that. But yeah, I mean, I need to think about the dip level. So let's consider that dip level support at 83 cents. I think that's really just me wanting it to go below my average. And so really with this one, I could see it having support at like 96 cents. That would be pulling back below the 50-day simple moving average, or maybe 96.9. So there's a 6 and a 9 there, 69. That's fun. So yeah, I think that that's not really going to be happening. I think that things just look too good. So I might adjust this to that. And I don't know that I would plan on buying there because that would be increasing my average. I would then be interested in buying if I had trimmed. But I'm not interested in trimming at 138. What I would be interested in, this is what gets to be interesting, these additional levels. I need to be using that more to illustrate that. Let's see, I need to make this. I'm not going to do that. I'll just do this and this. So like I don't want to trim at 138, but I do want to trim. I would consider trimming at 169. And so I think it's good to note over here, and that is one that, I should place. I should consider that. And so I can move some out of my wallet onto the exchange to trim at 169. If it does come down to this level, I wouldn't buy. I'd only want to buy if I'd be able to get my average down. So 169, I like that. I think that's a good thesis, just to trim. And then, and not to trim excessively, like LRC. I have more conviction in Ondo than I do LRC. So I think that's a really nice idea right there. I like that a lot. But maybe, then it'd be going up to 2 and I feel bad. But, it could do something. Let's say that's not actually going to happen. Maybe I want to do... let's see, I think the drawing tool, but I want to do the path tool. So maybe it does something like this, pulls back to find that as support, then it breaks out, but then cools off a little bit, breaks out, and then like really starts to squeeze as it gets up to like 138, goes up here, like vertical, and then like comes back sharply, finds that as support, and then, consolidates here before starting to go, something like that. So I don't know. That's a pretty ugly drawing, but this would be like squeezes, and then I get that fill, and then I could buy back at 138. I find that compelling. I find that very intriguing. So I've got that, let's see, noted here for the additionals. And I guess for the additionals, what I should probably do is do 8,000 here for Ethereum, because that's where I think that could be going. And then, that's black. I would consider trimming there or selling, or really, before getting up there, I don't have any orders placed. I don't plan on placing orders. Maybe I want to do 6,000. I don't, because, it's like managing risk and stuff. If it does go up to 6,000, we'd have to see. But yeah, I think that 8,000, I think that it could go higher than that. So I think that's good. I think it's good to utilize that. But anyway, speaking about Ethereum, let's go to another Ethereum related token or coin, which is going to be Ethereum Classic, ticker symbol ETC. Let's check out the market cap for this one. And so over here, Ethereum Classic, it is ranked number 38 on the list here, a market cap of around $3.4 billion, not too dissimilar to Ondo. But this is kind of like a fossil coin in all honesty. And so I think that it's one that I want to be trimming, and that's what I have been doing. And if we do look at that market cap, it does look like it went up from last week. So last Saturday, it was around 3 billion. Now it's around 3.4 billion. Great to see it going up, but what is behind it? And that, yeah, so let's just look at the chart over here. Ethereum Classic, the close from Friday, September 12th, was at 21.98, so 21.98, up about 2%. So I trimmed at break even. And for this one, I think I made 4 cents on it, so slightly in the green. But yeah, up 2% currently, or as of yesterday, up a little bit more as it has gone up to around 22, 23 currently. And yeah, I think that this is just way too high up on the list. It is a fork from Ethereum, which Ethereum Classic was, I believe, the OG Ethereum, but there was, I think, a security or some breach or concern, so they forked it to create the new Ethereum, which is the Ethereum that we know and love today. And so Ethereum Classic was just kind of this legacy, like purist coiners or whatever. But that to me is like, that's not the technology moving forward. That is, and that really goes against like the ethos or whatever of crypto, and that it is, a new technology that is taking the place of like TradFi and, older store of value, all of that, the internet, Web3 taking over from Web2, whatnot. So yeah, I just really don't, I recognize that I think that the days of Ethereum Classic are kind of behind us, but we are in alt season, so maybe very interesting to trim to consider that. But yeah, like 19 is the dip level that I had, the support, and then 30 to the upside. But maybe it does look like, I mean, the day's not over, but it does look like it could be topping a little bit. So we'll have to consider that. But like 19, and that would be breaking down below the 50% retracement here. I don't really see that happening. And to be honest, this kind of makes me want to just get out at not much profit, because I think that other coins are just much more appealing and don't want to be spreading myself so thin. But with that being said, with this being above the 50-day simple moving average now, which is at 21.57, that could be acting as support. 21, the yellow line here, going across consolidation highs over here, some consolidation there, also over here. That could be acting as support, as it was resistance over here. And that also does seem to correspond with, let's see, the, is that the 382? Just going to extend that forward a little bit so we can read it a little better. Right around there, 21 bucks. So I think at this point, 21 could be acting as that support. We did put in lower lows over here, but maybe that was a fake out, shakeout, maybe I should say, because over from here, that is a higher low, from here, higher lows. So that's looking good, but we haven't put in higher highs. Maybe that's something that we do. So I would say that my resistance or my support level would probably be around 21. So I'm going to have to update that over here. 21. I do not plan on adding there because I plan on getting out of my position. And then resistance at 30. What's that based on? That's going to be based on this 100% extension from the low here to the high and then down to this low, about 30 bucks. This one over here, it's, let's see, kind of the same idea, but from the low here to the high and then down. I could also look at kind of a bigger picture view of this, where it would be like the low to the high and then to this low. So maybe I want to draw that as well, just to kind of get, where are some confluence of levels that I want to consider, might want to consider trimming at, or, GTFOing at. To be honest, I would trim. I would hold a little bit just because, why not? But yeah, so, we do have this consolidation over here, so it does make sense that like getting above 25, there could be some resistance, but also getting above 25, that would be like breaking out from these highs. So I think that could be kind of like sort of blue sky territory. And then this could really rocket up to like 30, 32. So I think that 30 is reasonable for that trim level. But for me personally, I will be, probably trimming on a daily basis, either at my average or ideally in like 10% above increments. I do have an order placed to trim at 10%. But yeah, I just rather have the money in other coins that I think have brighter futures, whereas I think this is kind of a fossil. But maybe I'm missing something with it. I don't know. Yeah. We do see, I'm just thinking like, does this the trend line here, RSI kind of looks like it's breaking out a little bit, but not really, not too notable. I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm not going to spend too much time on that one because I just don't think it's worth it. But yeah, resistance. If I'm still holding the majority of my coins at 30, then I'd probably just, offload them, So that is that. And now let's move on to the next one on the list, which is going to be Solana, ticker symbol SOL. This is one that I wish I was holding more of. And very interesting dip level that I had talked about before that was hit, but I didn't have enough cash on the side to add to it. Do I regret that? I didn't have cash, so there's like no regret there. Proud of the analysis, but it is what it is. And, got to be managing that risk. Can't be spreading oneself too thin. And so I have not been doing that. Proud of myself there. That's really, I guess, the moral of it. I don't regret. I'm proud. But yeah, looking over at the market cap, Solana ranked number 6, as we'd expect. The market cap is right around $130 billion. I imagine this has gone up pretty exceptionally over the past week. So around 130 billion. And last week it was around 109 billion. So that's great. And then if we do come over to the charts over here to look at Solana, that's looking good. That's looking really nice. A little bit of a red candle so far today, but maybe that's just a consolidation and my doodle does play out. But we'll think about that in a minute. First, we want to look at the closing price from Friday, September 12th. And that was at 242.36. So 242.36. I'm up about 50% in my position. It does make me sad a little bit that, and actually thinking about this orange and stuff, and thinking about, I need to talk about these levels. So I'm going to take a step back for a second. For Ondo, $7 dip buy, really I think it'd just be like a $100 dip buy if I do trim on the upside. So no, I guess $7. If I don't trim on the upside, then it would be like coming down to here. Then yeah, $7. So I'm fine with that. If that happens, I'll just leave that. And then Ethereum Classic, I'm just going to be trimming that. And I took out about $43 from it. I sold 2 of them at my average. And so now I have that to basically be doing the daily buys for Ethereum. So that's great. And I actually used that to buy yesterday. So it's kind of timed perfectly. But anyway, Solana, $100. This is where things get a little bit more interesting. I wish I held more, but I don't want to chase. I have conviction in like Solana and Cardano. Solana is actually, if I go back to my thesis over here, go up, Solana's on that. And so I think that, that is one that I should maybe consider being a little bit more aggressive with. And like thinking like, I'm doing $40 a day with Ethereum. I'm up 84%. Why am I not buying Solana? Solana is like pretty close to all-time highs, whereas Ethereum's not. So maybe there's that argument. But I think that there is the narrative that we're rotating from Bitcoin to Ethereum to Solana and then to the other alts and then memes and whatever. I think that's a good narrative. That narrative makes sense to me. And and also too, I think that there's kind of this idea that, people who are like Bitcoin maxis or people who are like Solana or ETH purists, like Solana's more efficient, but Ethereum's never had downtime. I think that this is a good question to ask ourselves when thinking about ETH or Solana. Ask ourselves this question: Coke or Pepsi? Do we have one? No, we've got both. Is one better? You could argue that the Classic is better, but maybe that's just nostalgia and branding, and Pepsi actually has a better taste. I don't really know. That's up to the individual. And so it's not ETH, it's not Solana, it's Coke or Pepsi. And that's exactly what we're dealing with. And so I think that ETH does have a lot of potential to go a lot higher, but maybe it does, pull back to retest over here. And maybe this is a good exercise for me in exercising patience. Do I need to add to Solana? Do I need to buy? Do I need to chase? No. Now that we've broken above, what was the dip level that I have for Solana? 196. That was hit. Over here, what was the low on September 6th? 199. But the week before, that's when I introduced the 196. That was hit. We hit a low on the 1st of September of 194.20. I didn't have the cash to buy it, though. And so, yeah, I mean, this could very well be playing out as I have drawn there. So, like, what's the dip level that I could see here in this fib retracement? Let's clean up the chart a little bit, shall we? I can either extend that up higher, or I think that's the better thing to do, just looking at like the bigger perspective and whatnot. And so, but we haven't topped yet, and this was the top and then a breakout. We haven't topped. So, yeah, I think that maybe what I want to do is a retracement to up there. So let's just see this from up here to down here. 250. I have the resistance at 260. So I'm not going to do that. I am going to remove this retracement because we don't need all of the clutter. And I'm not going to assume that the top is in, because I don't think it's in. I think it's going up to 260. Maybe with that, though, I can assume that the top will be, 260. That I can assume that the top will be 260, and then I can draw a retracement, be an approximate going up to there. And then the 236 would suggest, look at that. That's magical. Wow. Charting, I think, is really interesting. I think it's really neat. That was a level that I kind of came about by drawing this box. That's around 220. So maybe 225. Man. And so this is what I think I should do. This is what I think I should do. And let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. That's what we're going to do. 221.69. That's the 236 effectively. 221.68. So let's come over here. Let's see. 221. Let's have some fun with it. 69. That is a level that I would dip by, I think. And resistance, I'm going to leave that at 260. Don't plan on trimming there. This is a level that, I need to alert. And so what I might do is place an order here, but then adjust it on a daily basis. Because I kind of made a list. I've got it in my notepad of some of the coins that I feel a little bit better about, that I'd like to have some more exposure to. And with the, stacking ETH, when I'm up 84% on it, I shouldn't be so shy to stack in these when I'm up. And so for me, I would like to increase my SOL position by about $92. And so with that, I could do daily dollar cost averages over the course of the next week that would add up to $92. But then if it comes down to 221.69, so over here, then I would just take whatever the remainder is and then throw that in. So I think that's reasonable. I mean, I do think that this is going to be going higher, and I don't want to be chasing. So I kind of want to just do like 92 all at once. But the whole way, like the way that I was able to create no emotion with like Ethereum was just doing boring daily dollar cost averaging, and that seemed to work really well. So let's pull up the calculator and do 92 cents divided by 7 days in the week. It's around $13. That's around $13. So what I might want to do, let's do 13 daily. And then if it comes down to my level, the remainder get up to 92 bucks. So for this, dips 92, and so I'll leave that in orange. But then the daily DCN, actually, how have I done this in the past where I do both of them? That's over here, so I want to do, okay, so 92, but then that's really like, I don't know, is it plus? I don't know, it's not plus, but I'll just do plus for this. Yeah, I want to do like in parentheses, but that could suggest negative. I want to do like slash, but that could suggest division. A dash would suggest negative. So I'm just going to do, maybe I want to do an and sign. And or. Hey, maybe that's the way to do it. And that would be like $13 dips. And so I guess this is going to be something that I need to place. So I will make that yellow, but then I will then change that to white. And what I might do for this is do that 92. Don't need to be so accurate. And then I want those dips, I want those to be 13. Or do I actually, to be in all honesty, because Robinhood kind of like rounds stuff down, do I want it to be 13? Or do I want it to just be, I place the order and then it rounds down? So I'll just do it like this. I think that's a better way to list this. And so I think that with that argument, I do want it to be like that. So I like that. I think that's good. Building up the SOL position, even in the green. I don't plan on holding it forever. But let's think about where this could be going. Where could SOL be going? But yeah, anyways, did I update that over here? I did. 260. That's like shorter term, but like additionals. Let's think about some additional levels. So if I do this, that would be like to the downside. So really, macro big picture, from the bear market to the high and then this pullback, that's where, SOL could really be going to. And so let's consider that. And that would be like a lot more upside, I imagine. Maybe by the end of the year, maybe early next year. That is what I just drew. That's around 380. So 380, I think. And maybe 400 and beyond. And another thing that's really exciting or interesting, not really looking at the chart because it just recently made all-time highs, but looking at the market cap. If we're talking about rolling from Bitcoin to Ethereum and then to ETH, SOL's ranked number 6. Why not XRP? That makes me more bearish on XRP or less bullish, more bullish on Solana. And then that could potentially be moving up to number 3 in the list. So yeah, that could be doubling in market cap easily. And, same with XRP, to be honest, but still keeping these two, the 1 and 2. So 138, and then if I do this again, that could be like 560. So yeah, I don't want to extend anything more beyond that. So let's do like 380 and 560. 380 and 560. I think that's pretty interesting. I might sneeze in a second. My nose is getting ticklish. But yeah, orders. I don't know what this is. Oh, that would be like a pending thing, which I didn't do before. So, no, I understand. I understand what's going on there. So I get into too many highlights and stuff. And so orders. I do need to place an order, so the daily. So I think that's good. I think these levels, make sense to me. And why are these? I feel like all of these should be like that. Other than this, should be like that. Okay. So yeah, Solana. I like that. I like this. I think that's great. Yeah, and so let's go on to the next one on the list, which is going to be Cardano, ticker symbol ADA. Let's check out the market cap for this one. I believe it's going to be ranked number 10. Maybe it's number 9. Number 9. And the market cap, you can't see it behind me, but the market cap for Cardano is 33.5 billion, almost 33.6 billion. And so let's see what happened to that over the past week. Did go up last week. It was around 29.4 billion. Now it's at 33.5 billion. And so let's check out the price there. And let's not go so macro on this one. Let's just view what the closing price was from Friday. So yesterday, September 12th, the closing price was 91.76. So 91.76. Did go up. I'm up about 20% in my position. Thinking about, was thinking about a $20 dip buy, but I did not carry that out. My average is 76 cents, so we're above my average. But, thinking about this like Ethereum, this is one like Sol that I want to be a little bit more aggressive on. So I'll have something like this to put right here, but we got to think about that. Levels to the bottom, to the dips, levels to the upside, to the rips. And so I actually, because Cardano is lower on the list than Solana, and, I kind of want to keep these paired, right around the same, I think. Whereas XRP, sorry, I don't have as much conviction in. I just don't like it as much. That's just me. And I think that there's a lot of retail behind that, which I guess I'll talk about. The sentiment, I don't think it doesn't make as much sense. But yeah, let's talk about Cardano levels. 76, that's kind of arbitrary because that's my average. 110 to the upside. So let's, consider these levels here. So 76 to the downside. And we had the low over here on September 1st, which was 78.20. I don't think 76 is going to get hit then. We got the 50-day simple moving average right here at like 83, 84 cents, which also seems to correspond with this fib retracement here. Right around there. The 382 is at like 82.5 cents. So maybe I want to, consider this. Let's just round it up to 84 cents. So I think 84 cents is a level to consider there. And that is one that I would buy. And so I need to make that black. I need to place the alert there as well as the order, as well as the... Oops, I was clicking the wrong button. Make that yellow. But that would be like a daily dollar cost average type of thing if it were to come down to 84 cents. And so because my Cardano position is not as big as my Solana position, I would be a little bit more aggressive than $13 daily dip buys or daily dollar cost averaging. And that is based on to get Cardano and Solana to be the same amount of risk exposure. And so that number is not 92 divided by 7. That is going to be 121 divided by 7. And so that is putting me at about $17 every day. So let's do that. And this, I might get into a little bit of trouble if that goes too far. So I want this to be 121. And did I say 17? I said 17. So what I might do, I know it's ugly, but I'm just going to do it like that. And so I like that. That makes sense. I think that's reasonable. It's managing the wanting to chase with the dollar cost averaging, but it's also factoring in the possibility that it could pull back and kind of allowing some patience over the week with that. While also not like dumping in 121 or 92, whatever, all at once. So I think that I like those. I think that that's good. But where could this be going? And then maybe this is like, thinking further into the future. 110, maybe I want to add some additional levels up here. That could be some resistance. Excuse me. So wait, not the calculator. Over here, I said 110. It's 110. Yeah, I got a lot of levels here. I'm not really going to go over that. I'm going to take too much time doing that. But this seems like, let's remove these drawings. Just keep it simple. Downtrend, breakout, retest again, higher lows, You could, you could draw a line like this, or you could draw a line like this, connecting there. So I'm not going to do, maybe I want to do something like that. Maybe I want to clean this up a little bit. I don't know. Well, you got that line here that I drew, so it's kind of the same. But yeah, 110. Let's think about where this could be going. So kind of similar to like what I did with Solana. The 100% here would be like 160, 1618, like 226, and then like $3, and perhaps higher. But yeah, so like 159, 226. Really, like my kind of thesis, and actually maybe this is what I want to do. While this is below $1, what is it currently trading at? 94. I think this is what I want to do. Dang it, this is going to be more of a pain. I think what I probably want to do is maybe $7 dips. And so let's see. Yes, this is going to make this more of a pain. But, if it's not work, you're not doing it right. If it's fun, you're probably doing it wrong. So 7, as we all know, 7 times 7, 49. So let's make that negative. And then add 121 to that, $72. So maybe what I want to do is, crap, 72, while it's below $1, $72 dip buy, and then, and then 49, and or then that, not 17, but 7. And so for this, I need, so this would be 72 and then plus. So this is something that I want to place, so that should be yellow. And so it'd be something like that, but maybe I do actually want to, let's see, something like that. So I do $72, and still, even if with that right away, Solana's above, and that's with it below $1. But then still doing this to then get that to Solana and Cardano are still up there. But yeah, let's think about if it doesn't do that, if it just continues to go up. Because like looking over here, no, I think that levels that I have 160 to, there are too many levels. So really, don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. $2. And then to be honestly, let's not overthink it. $3. All right. Those are 2 levels. Don't have to overthink it. And the idea would be that whatever my average ends up being, if it's below $1, that would be like a 2x up to 2. It could be a 3x up to 3, and so on. So I like that. I think that's good. A little bit of a pain in the ass here, but I think it's okay. I think it's good. I like it. I think it's balanced. not FOMOing in, not chasing within reason below $1, but then keeping the option of it pulling back some more. So I think that's fine. So, yeah, with that being said, let's look at the next one, which is going to be Chainlink, ticker symbol LINK. The market cap for Chainlink ranked number 12. And that market cap is almost $17 billion. All right, so right there did go up over the past week. Chainlink was at 15 billion. Now it's almost at 17 billion, so it went up about $2 billion, so very nice there. Let's check out the chart over here, the closing price from Friday. And that was at a price of, on September 12th, the closing price was 25,147, so 25,147. Did go up about 23% on this one. This is another one that I would like to add to, but I don't necessarily think I need to be that aggressive with it. So yes. So I think there's that. And let's see. I had previously had a $21 dip buy. Chainlink, I like it. I like the applications. I think Sergey does a great job explaining it, talking about its utility. We're seeing partnerships, all this stuff. I think that it's really good in that sense. I want to add more. To get up to let's see, $100 increment, I need to add about $42 to it. So maybe I want to change this from 21 to 42. Is that going to be a dip or is that going to be an addition? It would probably be something like this. So let's consider that. But let's consider the levels that I have first. So Chainlink 21 and 30. And so what was the low over here? So on last Saturday, the 6th, the low was 2187.6. So 21 may not be happening. Maybe we get a pullback to like the 236 here, which if I do extend that forward, that's around 23, 24 bucks, currently trading around almost 25. So maybe we get a pullback to also like this trend line that I have here, which is, going to be approximate a little bit. But that could be suggesting a return to around, let's say 24 bucks. Maybe we want to do a little mini fib retracement here. If we were to assume that's the top, the 618, let's say 23. The 618 is 23.28. So let's say that dip level is actually 23. All right, so I need to adjust that with the alerts. I'd also want to place an order there. But maybe it doesn't go down to that level. I want to be adding to my position. And so let's consider that. And yeah, so considering that, 42 bucks right there. Okay, so, but then what's 42 divided by 7? I think it's going to be 6, but let's do the math. 42 divided by 7. Great. I know basic math. Mental math. Basic mental math. Mental math is tough. So 42 and or $6 a day. And so that $6 a day is something that I will place, but maybe it doesn't get filled. And so that's kind of why I have the orange and the yellow. Yellow I need to place. Well, really, like orange I need to place, but it may not get filled. And so $6 there. I think that's reasonable. I feel good about that. All right. And then let's consider the levels to the upside. So 30. Maybe I want to add some more levels over here. So 30, why did I pick 30? Consolidation highs over here. I definitely think it could be going higher. I think it could be going up to 50. Is that the all-time highs for Chainlink? I guess so. But let's see, are these fib? Yep, so this goes back to kind of like the consolidation there. Yeah, so maybe I want to just pull back to the, so I mean 30 right there. 1618 around 50. So yeah, I mean I think this could be going up to 30 to 50. So that's another level. And that would be like more than a 2x for me. So I like that. I think that's good. And now the next one on the list, this is one that I feel good about, but I'm not like super, I don't hear too much about it. But anyways, the next one on the list is going to be Aave, ticker symbol AAVE. Let's check out the market cap. And so Aave is going to be ranked number 32 over here. Market cap of about $4.8 billion. Imagine that went up over the past week. The prior Saturday, market cap was around 4.569. Now it's at about 48 or $4.8 billion. And let's see that closing price from Friday for Aave. Let's zoom in here. And Friday, September 12th, closing price was 32168. So 32168. I'm up about 16% in my position, so feeling good about that. My average is 278, sub 300. And so with that being said, maybe I want to do like a dip just to like, hey, I'll add, and then maybe I want to re-engage. So I think that's maybe an idea that I want to do with some of these other ones. But maybe not. I don't know. But really, it's above 300. I think 300 is kind of a psychological level. What do I have? 280 was over there for the dip. Let's see, did that happen? The lows last week, 295. The lows like a couple weeks before, 276. So that 280 already happened. Probably not going to happen again. We are respecting this uptrend. And so 280, I don't know. With it trading around 315, I could see it coming down to 300. Also like the 50-day simple moving average. That's around 300 at 301.54. So 300, I think, is like that dip buy level. Or that dip consider level. And so maybe what I'd want to do, just to be engaged, is have like a limit buy there. But not for a lot of money. Because I don't want to be like getting my average down, but to like stay engaged with this one. Maybe I want to do just super lame. Dip buy. But only $1. Hey, that's fine. I don't need to get emotional about that. I don't need to be spread myself super thin because of it. And it's not like it's $7 across all of these. That adds up. Just $1. No big deal. And then it's more than an alert. It's an order. So, yeah, that at 300. I like that. And then to the upside, let's see 460. Why 460 for Aave? That's going to be over here based on, this bigger picture kind of, 100% extension. But then beyond that, I think it could be getting up to 600. I think it could be getting beyond 600. But let's not overthink it, 620. Let's do 600, and then you know what the next number is going to be. That's on my mind. But yeah, 600, I think is, feasible. And then because I'm an idiot, 69, 420. All right. Gotta have fun. Otherwise, what's the point? So, hey man, I like it. I mean, it could be bumping into some resistance around 500 though, before 6. But I think it could be getting back. Oh, maybe it doesn't go to all-time highs though. So maybe I want to do 500 and like, do I want to like extend this thing? It doesn't matter because I don't take screenshots from this, so I can extend it all I want. 69420. Having fun. So I think those are good. And those are levels that I would, I need to consider, trimming out at, getting out at, whatever. But yeah, maybe I'd add here. So yeah, I mean, I think there's that. And then this is where, I'm going to need to adjust things a little bit. All of these moved up, and they moved up because Fartcoin moved down. I trimmed that, but I'll talk about that when I get to it. So the next one on the list is going to be Pepe, ticker symbol PEPE. And so let's check out the market cap for Pepe. That one is, believe it or not, above Ondo, above Aave. Pepe ranked number 31, over $5 billion market cap. I believe this one has been running, so I believe it's up, but I don't believe that I'm up. So this might be one where I want to do a daily dollar cost average with it. But yeah, $5 billion last week. Pepe was at $4 billion, so it increased by market cap by 25%. $1 billion, that's pretty crazy, I must say. But let's check out the closing price from yesterday. And I'm just going to, let's see, Fartcoin should move down below PENGU, I believe. Oops. Yep, there we go. And there we go. So Pepe's next on the list. So let's look at this one. Let's zoom in to see the closing price from Friday. It looks like maybe it's topping a little bit, kind of getting into that trend line resistance that I talked about. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, the closing price from Friday, September 12th, was at a price of 4/0/1154. 1154. That's up. I'm down 18% though. So that makes me think I should be, buying. Do I want to do a dip buy? It doesn't matter. I'm negative. So why don't I just do like daily dollar cost average? So maybe I can just type in a 1 there. Hey, that's cool. It's easy. And I can make that yellow. Just a daily dollar cost average. No big deal. As I'm negative, just why not? And I can just keep that up for weeks, until we get above my average, which is around 4 zeros and a 14, or let's just say 14 cents to keep it simple. But yeah, what are the levels to the downside? 50869. I feel like that's probably not going to be getting hit at this point. But let's think about that. What's maybe the new? Yeah, because we had this like trend line. We broke below it. Maybe it's a shakeout, fake out, breakdown. Now kind of maybe getting rejected a little bit by this trend line here. That's a high of around like, let's see the high today so far. 4 zeros and a 1269. So, hey, we're all idiots. That's why we're doing this. We got to have fun. So 1269. And so like resistance here, what did I have? 16. That's kind of, I feel like 13 is the more like resistance level. And it does seem like we're getting rejected from there. So I should have had that at 13. But let's see, like, before I talk about resistance, I should probably talk about like pullbacks. I should, this here. And so, I could see this uptrend that was support. It maintains support, that it pulls back to find that as support. And now we'll be coming down to around 12 cents. I'm just going to take the 4 zeros out. 12 cents, but we also do have that 50-day simple moving average, or SMA. That's around 11 cents. So let's just keep it simple. And let's just do this. Would I buy there? Yeah, I would. So maybe what I want to do is just do like a $1. And just to keep it easy, keep that a little bit tighter. 11 cent, 4 zeros and an 11. So I want to come back over here. And I think that what I want to do is do an asterisk, $1 plus daily $1. And I'm going to do this as with the zeros because I can like fine tune that to be $1. And so that's, I think that's good. Really just to keep engaged with that $1 dip, but yeah, $1 daily dollar cost averaging is good there. And I'm going to need to adjust the alerts and the orders. Resistance to the upside, like I thought 13 cents. I should have realistically had it there, but I wouldn't plan on trimming there because that would be in the red for me. So if I do it like that, I think that's reasonable. And then, 16, gosh, this is like why these kind of coins are kind of annoying, but 16, and then where could I see it going beyond there? Up here at 16. But then like 4 zeros and a 2. So that would be like the next one. So these are levels that I think that, oops, gosh, stupid levels. Another one that I want to consider maybe trimming at, but I'm not there yet. Just to be managing that risk. So I think that's fine. I think that's good. And I think that's, reasonable, not being too aggressive, not getting too crazy. Yeah. And so I'm just trying to think about this stuff. Because, it's like all of these I want to add to, but it's, I got to maintain composure. So, yeah, with that, let's see. Okay, I think that's okay. Yeah, because am I like convicted in Pepe? No, not necessarily, but doing something with that. And I think that this also helps me to kind of manage, being a little bit more aggressive up here with those. And actually, I might want to walk this back with Link. Maybe. I'm not sure. We're going to have to think about that. Maybe not. I don't know. I put it up there. Let's not walk it back. Let's talk about the next one that's on the list. That is going to be Litecoin at ticker symbol LTC. Let's check out the market cap for Litecoin, ranked at number 19 at a market cap of over $9 billion. So let's paste that over here, see where that's at. Did go up over the past week. Last week, Litecoin was at a market cap of about 8.5 billion. Now it's at over 9 billion. Let's check out the price for Litecoin. The closing price from Friday, September 12th, was at 118.12. 118.12. Up. Looks like I'm up 19%. So it's like, I don't need to be aggressive with this. No. This is the one that I was thinking. Link and Litecoin I get confused with because they're both yellow. But yeah, this is one I could see myself adding to. Like, why is Pepe above Litecoin? And so that's something that I need to consider. And I might actually pause this to give an idea of what amount I should be adding to Litecoin so it overtakes maybe Pepe and Aave. So I'm going to pause this because I don't want to reveal some things. And then I'll be back in 1 second, which you guys won't notice, but I'll have that number in my head. It'll be stored up here. So 1 second. All right, so I figured that out. It's really not that exciting to overthrow Pepe and Aave. I'd really just need to do like a $2 daily DCA with Litecoins. That's nothing big. That's nothing crazy at all. So I could definitely do that. I could even do it like 3. That's fine. But I'm going to think about it. I'm going to think about it. Because do I need to? Not really. I'm up 19%. We'll think about it, though. We'll think about it. 99 and 140 are the levels that I had highlighted. So let's come over here so I can just go over those. 99, could I see it coming down to that? 99 would be like right around the 50% here. To be honest, I could see that happening, although the low that was tested over here was on September 1st. I got to clear my throat, so 1 second. So the lows over here from September 1st was 106. It has reclaimed the 50-day simple moving average at like 115.65, currently trading around 119, maybe topping a little bit, maybe kind of pull back a little bit, I don't know. But like 107, or maybe have fun with it. Maybe we sweep that, 106.9. Of course, having fun with that number. So 106.9. Would I consider buying that? Yeah, so maybe what I want to do is, again, nothing too exciting, but to like maintain engagement with it or whatever. Maybe I want to do like a $1 dip buy at 106.9. But then like doing like $2 daily DCAs. So I might do something like this, take that here, but then just make this $2 so I get Litecoin to move up above Pepe, because I think that's important. And yeah, so I think that's good, and I'm having fun with it. And then if it does come down to 106.9, I could then still be getting more aggressive if it does come down lower. So I think that's totally good. I want to adjust those, but then like 140 to the upside, that's a level that I wouldn't trim at apparently. 140 to the upside, that's going to be kind of like split the difference between the top here, consolidation highs over here. Notable resistance 140 or 130 to 146 or so, right around here. So like 140, I think that's good, but I wouldn't want to trim there. So what are some like additional levels that I'd look to maybe consider? And so like going back in time, I might actually, because this is like one of the OG ones, listening to Charlie Lee, the founder of, or creator, I think maybe creator is the right word, of Litecoin. If you've used Litecoin versus Bitcoin, it's cheaper, faster, and those two things make it easier, more efficient to transfer money around than Bitcoin. And I think that in a recent interview that Charlie did on the Wolf of Wall Streets, he was talking about how, like, if you think about Bitcoin as like the store of value, and that is like the digital gold, if we look back in time, what is the difference between like gold and silver, for example? And people have said like Ethereum's the silver, the digital silver, but that's really not true. It's more like the digital oil or like the internet. So what is like the silver to Bitcoin's gold? And that would be Litecoin, because in the past you'd store value with gold, but it was so heavy you wouldn't really exchange with it. You just store it. And so what's more efficient in that sense for that trade? Well, that's not like a, fiat currency or currency that we use, but for that store of value that you could trade, that would be like Litecoin, that's more efficient. It's cheaper to move. I like that narrative. I think it's a really good narrative. And so levels that this could be bumping into some resistance at, this trend line here, I could see that. And that could be around like 200, maybe wick above 200. So I think that's a level to consider. If my average is below 200, that's a 2x. But then, you know, this has a lot of history. And so maybe this could be going up to like 300, 400. Let's not think about it too much. Yeah. For like, what's the all-time high? I guess I should see about that. All-time high, 420. That's funny. That I'm not joking. You can see it right there. The all-time high just above the cursor, 420, 0 cents. That's funny. So maybe what I'd want to suggest is like 3, 4, and 420. 2, 3, 4, and 420. And then maybe all-time highs beyond that. And I'm not even going to think about those. But 420 would be putting in all-time highs, I believe. Yeah. So that's pretty crazy. I've got this orange line up here, though. What is that all about? Why do I have an orange line there? What's that from? That's probably just like a fudge of the level over here at like 360. So that's not a horizontal line. What's that based on? That's just a, that's based on something. That's a fib extension. Maybe I want to go to the weekly. Maybe it's on the log scale. Maybe I want to adjust this over here. No, I mean, that's a 100% extension, yeah. What? I'm crazy? This 8,000 on the log scale. So maybe what I want to do is not on the log scale, adjust that, and then I can drag this down in this time frame. I can see that it's like 700. So maybe what I want to do is consider like 690. You know, like 200, maybe the trim, I don't know. I mean, I think that this could be going above 200. So maybe I want to just delete 200. And that could be like a more shorter term one that I would not really, but I could see this going up to these levels and then beyond, or maybe, I don't know. Managing risk is something. But, you know, once it gets to like 200, that's like breakout territory. So yeah, I don't think I need 200 on this. And if it goes up to like 420, that's testing new all-time highs. And so, yeah, I mean, I could see this going up to 69 4.20. Why not? Got to have fun with the numbers. Otherwise, what are we doing? And then that's like effectively the same price target as Aave. But yeah, that's just like to kind of note that there is this fib extension here. Maybe it's something, maybe it's not. No idea. But this could be going a lot higher. And so do consider that. I will be considering that. Yeah, so having fun with numbers. I'm having fun with these additionals. So that's cool. And yeah, I've got that there. So let's consider the next one on the list, which is going to be the official Trump coin. And that is ticker symbol TRUMP. Let's check out the market cap for Trump. Ranked number 59, which is below Pudgy Penguins. I like Pudgy Penguins. But the official Trump coin, both of these being Solana tokens. But the official Trump coin is at a market cap of like $1.8 billion market cap. And I think that this could be going a lot higher. And so let's see for this one, what am I thinking about? Last week, what was the market cap? The market cap was 1.66 billion. Now it's 1.8 billion. Okay. And so let's check out the price for Trump. And that is going to be, got to zoom in. It's such a new one. The closing price from yesterday was above the 50-day simple moving average, but I'll get to that in a minute. And so Friday, September 12th, closed at $8.99. Very good. I'm down about 22%. I did have like the dip level at 8, but I don't think that's going to happen. Trim level at 17. It's possible I have an order placed there. It does look like I have an order placed there. But over here, $8. What was the low from like a couple weeks ago? The low was 8.15. 8 wasn't hit. I don't think 8's going to get hit at this point. I think that's something that we got to consider. And that this is up. And maybe it's putting in a top today. So far, the high is $9.53. Got that 50-day simple moving average at like $8.90. This level here, that green line, maybe that gets flipped to support. And so maybe we can consider, a shorter term Fibonacci retracement, assuming that the highs put in, pulling back to, 861, that would be the 618, or 50% would be like 878, maybe split the difference, kind of get that green line there at like 871. But we haven't necessarily put in the top, so don't want to jump to that. And so I could see like the dip level being like 869, having fun with it. And that also kind of representing this line over here that was the resistance in the past, ended up being some approximate support, and now we're above it. And so that could be a nice dip level, 869. So I'm going to adjust that over here to 869. And that is one that I would buy at, but nothing too crazy, nothing too excessive. That would really just be like, a $1 dip buy. And then other than that, I would do like dollar DCAs while I'm in the red, because might as well. And then it's not like so much money that it's like, getting emotional about it or anything. So with that being said, I think that, got the Aave dip buy there. Just thinking about that. Yep. So that seems fine. That seems reasonable. And then $17 trim. And let's consider this. I don't know if I have it in my account and I have like an order placed. No, I don't think I have an order placed for that. But 17, would I be selling it short a little bit? If it got up there, that's pretty high. I think it could bump into some resistance around like 14. What's my average for Trump? 12, sub 12. So coming over to here, but then I think it's kind of getting into like breakout territory. So like 17, yeah, I think that that's something that I would trim at, but I'm like not going to place that order until we like get there. And so that would make me think that it's like, I would just have an alert there. But then I would need to like place those orders and stuff. So that is something that I would. Goes to 17, then hey, I need to check that out. So yeah, I'm going to leave that at 17. Not going to do anything crazy there. These orders I do need to place, but I kind of have that denoted over here. I'm aware of that. So don't need to highlight that or overcomplicate things. But like, let's consider some other levels beyond 17 that I think that this could be going to. Over here, the top side, 24. And maybe we could have some fun with that, just being stupid. Well, actually, maybe not being stupid initially. But like 20, $20. And then beyond that, let's have a little bit of fun. 24, 420, 2420. And then beyond that, 40, you know where I'm going with this. Let's just do it that. And then, because that's 42, the highs over here, consolidation highs like 44. And then beyond that, I don't know. I don't know where it could go. We'd have to wait and see. And so I think that those are all levels. I mean, actually right here, 35, kind of a, if I just draw a line going across here, really just based on the lows from January 21st, that was the low was 35. Interesting. And so I'm going to adjust that to be 35. And so that's another one. Yeah. So got incremental levels to consider. Oh, 25. No, I want 35. There we go. So I think that those are all good. I think that I like all of those. I think that some of those, if not all, will get hit. And yeah, I'm going to be taking advantage of that. So yeah, that's done. Now let's go on to the next one on the list, which is going to be ticker symbol or XRP. Let's go to the next one on the list, which is going to be XRP, ticker symbol XRP. Let's check out the market cap for this one. I think it's number 3. It has dethroned Tether, I realized, which is number 4, but they're pretty close to market cap. But yeah, XRP over here, the market cap, 186, almost $187 billion. So let's populate that and move that over here. And let's check out actually before I check out the price, let's see how that went up from last week. So last week's XRP was at 167 billion. Now it's at 186, almost 187 billion. So looking good there. The current price for XRP is, let's see over here, zoom in. The closing price, I should say, from Friday, September 12th, was 310.67. So 310.67. Looks like I'm in the green on that, up about 24%. And this one, to be honest, I don't think that I really need to be engaged with it. If it does come down to, if it were to come down to below my average, then yes. But I don't think that's going to happen. So I'm probably just going to do this as NA. Unless, I guess, I should, before I get ahead of myself, maybe I want to look at the chart. My average is 250. That's down here. Yeah, I mean, this looks like a lower low here, so kind of a fake out there. Fake out, shake out. And then it's bouncing above the 200 or the 50-day simple moving average. That's at $3, 301. Getting rejected a little bit so far. The high today was 309.16. So maybe it pulls back to 301. But I don't need to be getting crazy buying that or anything. So, yeah, I mean, I think that as of right now, I'm content with my XRP position. And I can just chill with it. So I'm just going to do this as NA. I'm not going to buy. I'm not going to place a limit order to dip buy. Or maybe no, because I think that this one would get hit for Aave. And then it's just like $1, I'm engaged. XRP, I don't know that 250 would get hit. And then this way, I can just chill without emotions. So, yeah, I mean, I think in 250, that's a nice number. Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think about this. If it comes down to 150 or 250, yeah, I'd want to dip buy. Yeah. So why not? And that would be at 250. And that's for me personally. 265, I would not add at that. But I would add, yeah, let's see, 265. That still, I think, is potentially still valid. So I'm going to leave that. Resistance 450. That's going to be based on a fib extension, multiple fib extensions. But yeah, I think that beyond that, I don't know, 550. So 450, I'm going to leave. Would I trim there? I'm going to say probably not. I don't think I would. And I'm actually just going to check. I'm not sure if I have some in my account that I would trim at or something. No, so the levels, this is maybe going to be kind of odd, but one that for an additional would be 250. I would add there. But then going beyond that, I think $5, that makes sense. And that's one that, if I'm up 100%, I'd trim there. And then like 550 is another one. So those are levels that I have, effectively up on the chart. And then over here, 6, I guess 6, I have that on the chart. And that's based on, bigger picture. From over here. So it'd be an approximate $6. So yeah, I will do that as well. But I don't necessarily know that I think it's going to hit 6. And that's something that I'd, evaluate. And so 250, I would buy one. So XRP, yeah, I do that. Fine. It dips to 250. Add a little bit more to my position, and I just relax. So it's no big deal. And I think that has a lot of potential to go higher. But the thing that I'm not so bullish about with XRP is if we look at the market cap, and I might have talked about this last week. Let's say I'm a retail trader. I hear about this Bitcoin, or I shouldn't even say a retail trader. I should say, let's say I'm a normie. So I'm not even a trader. And I just hear, hey, Bitcoin. But man, that's $115,000. I'm not going to buy that. Well, there's Ethereum, but Ethereum is kind of boring. It's at like $4,000. It's so boring. I don't think it's going to get up to Bitcoin's price, but XRP, that's exciting. People talk about it. People like it. Let's say I put in like $5,000. I can sure get an Ethereum, but I don't think that's really going to go so much higher because it's so boring. But XRP, if I put in $4,000, I can get an over 1,000 XRP. And if that goes up to even just Ethereum's price, I can make a lot of money with that. And if it goes up to Bitcoin, I am set for generations, And so I think that's kind of the sentiment around XRP. And I don't think that's a good, that's not how things work because it's based on market cap. So this could 3x, I feel like. So go to 9, 6, 2x. But yeah, so I think that there will be retail normies FOMOing in that will drive price up. But I think it's going to be good to GTFO. And so that's one that, I don't need to be doing anything too crazy with it. But yeah, the next one on the list, this is one that I wish I had more of. And that is going to be Avalanche, ticker symbol AVAX. And that's also going to be largely due to Sheldon from Crypto Banter. He's talked about, Solana, Cardano, and Avalanche more recently. And yeah, and I like the narrative around Avalanche, with that being the layer one, the base layer for the stablecoin of Wyoming and other states and whatnot potentially. I think there's utility in it with gaming, other things. So I think that it's being utilized. Things are being built on it. So I like that. But yeah, let's not get into too much of that stuff. Let's first get over to the market cap. And so Avalanche is ranked at number 16 at about $12.5 billion market cap. And so we can see that did go up over the past week. Avalanche was at around 10.3 billion. Now it's at 12.5 billion. So very nice to see that. It has gone up a lot. So maybe I'd be chasing it if I were to be adding more aggressively. So that's something I want to consider. But here it looks like the closing price from Friday, September 12th was, let's see, at around, on the 12th, the closing price was not around, was 29.01. So 29.01 there. Looks like I'm up about 27%. I had been thinking about, adding like $51 to it. But I didn't do that. My average is below where it's currently at, but thinking about this relative to like Ethereum, and maybe I want to scroll up so you can see these other coins behind Ed's head here. But kind of thinking about that relative to Ethereum, if I'm up like 84% on that and I'm adding $40 a day, I should be able to add some to Avalanche. And so I'll talk about that in a minute. But thinking about levels to pull back to 2150, do I think that's going to happen if it's at 29? Probably not. $40 level to the upside. Let's consider those, but let's go over to here so I can consider that. Did I adjust that? I can't remember if I adjusted that for XRP. I don't think I did, so I can leave that alone. But yeah, Avalanche, 2150. I could see it coming down in all honesty. The 50-day simple moving average is around 24. Also seems to correspond with this trend line that we've been moving up on. And following like this pullback here, we can see, a little micro fib retracement. 50% would bring it to around 26. The 618 would bring it to around 24. So I could see the pullback being around 25. What's my average? I've got bad memory. My average, that'd be above my average, but I could see it being, a worthwhile to come down to like 25, 24, somewhere around there. So I'm going to make that be 25. I'm going to make that black because I would dip by that. But I would also want to dollar cost average in case it doesn't come down to that level over the course of the week. And considering that, and let's see, I need to do the adjust the alert there and place an order. But considering that 25, looking at this and looking at this, I actually want to be a little bit more aggressive than 51 because Avalanche is so far down the list here. I think I actually want to make that be 101. Kind of crazy. And that would be getting it to be, higher up on that list. And so I'm going to kind of copy the format up here, bring that down. And so I'm going to make this 101 for sake of space. I'm not going to include those figures. Or maybe I want to do 1, I'm not sure. And thinking about that, what's 101 divided by 7? So 101 divided by 7 means that I should be doing about $14 a day. And so let's do 101 dip by at 25, but every day I'd be trimming that back based on, $14. So kind of similar to what I'm doing with Solana, but a little bit more aggressive. So I think that that's feasible. I think that that's reasonable. I'm probably spreading myself too thin, but I just got paid, so I do have some maneuverability. Next week, I might not. but that would be getting Avalanche higher up, and feeling good about that. So yeah, there's that. And thinking about the weeklies then. So they're $40 to the upside. Looking at the chart, it's kind of getting up to like this 1618, moving beyond like 32. So $40, maybe that's a level that I'd trim at. I'm not really sure. I actually think I do have an order. Got to pull up the right app. I think I do have an order. I have, because I have some, I store my Avalanche in my account. I do have an order placed to trim at 54. So maybe what I want to do is leave that at 40 in the red, but then have a trim here at 54. And that's black, that I would trim there. But that I think that this, yeah, up to here, and then maybe, wow, up to like 60. And then of course, you know, the next number, 69. But yeah, 60. I think that's kind of valid with the tops over here. Highs though were 65, so not 69. So like, yeah, 60, 69. Maybe I have some fun with that one. But then like 100, psychological level, 135. 100, 135. And man, I just keep adding all this stuff. But you don't want to lay this stuff out. So maybe it seems a little excessive, but then it's like, you know, I have a plan. So I think that that's good. When we do hit these levels, I'm accountable. I don't have to sell a lot. I could trim a little bit, or I can completely exit if I feel like I need to. But I think that that's a good way to approach this. But yeah, anyways, let's go on to the next one, which it looks like I screwed up here. So I'm going to put the PENGU up here for this. Insert the next one on the list is going to be PENGU, the next one on the list is going to be Pudgy Penguins, ticker symbol PENGU or PENGU. I love this one. I'm very happy about it. I was hoping to do a dip buy, but I don't think we hit that level. And so that's why it was yellow here. I don't think I placed the order. And let's just actually see. Pending orders. I don't have that order placed. So that should probably be orange. But anyways, I'm going to start this over because I got into a little bit of a ramble. But yeah, looking at the next one, that's going to be Pudgy Penguins, ticker symbol PENGU or PENGU. Let's populate that market cap data coming over here. So Pudgy Penguins, PENGU. I don't know if you played the game. It's pretty fun. They are ranked number 50. And the market cap is around $2.3 billion. I imagine that did go up over the course of the past week. And we could see that at the beginning of the week, it was valued at $1.8 billion. It's gone up about $500 million, up to $2.3 billion. And let's check out that price over here. And so PENGU, look at that. This looks like a bull flag that it's breaking out from. And so the closing price on Friday, September 12th, was at 3.643 cents. So 3.643 cents. 643 cents. And maybe I actually do want to move that over. And we can see that I'm up about 15% in my position. My average is at around 32 cents. Kind of wish it was around 3.2 cents. I kind of wish it was closer to 3 cents, but managing risk, all of that, whatnot. If this were to come down to, what's the dip for PENGU? I don't think it's 2.5 cents. Let's actually look at the chart for that. The low over here on September 1st was 2.754 cents, so 2.5 cents was not hit. I think we need to get like a little bit of a reality check there. And I think that the 382 here could potentially be revisited. And that is right around 3 cents. Although we do have the 50-day simple moving average at 3.3 or 3.4 cents. That is below us now, so that could be acting as support. Also, if I do extend this channel further forward into the future, we can see that that could be acting as some support, kind of corresponding with that simple moving average there, or perhaps with that 382, and that's again around 3 cents. So that will be the level I would want to dip by at. And for me personally, that would be at 3 cents, getting my average down. If that happens, great. If that doesn't happen, whatever, it's a buck, it's just chilling there, no big deal. But I should adjust it over here to be 3 cents. And with that, I can adjust this to be over there so we don't got all of those decimals over there. The level to the upside could be, I think, around 5 cents. We have that right here. But that would be, in all honesty, a pullback down to the 786. So I could actually see that going much higher. And so with that being said, 5 cents, let's say this is being conservative, I think, to the upside. We pull back to that 50%. That's around the 2.5 cents. Where would that be putting the price target up here? That's around 6.3, 6.4 cents. But let's say we don't. Let's not be conservative. Let's go with that low over here. That's around 6.6 cents. So maybe it's probably good to be conservative and not to get excited, rounding that up to 6.9 cents. But I like PENGU. And so maybe that's a worthy level to just kind of be like stupid with. So with that being said, let's do a 0.6 cents, a 0.69 cents, and then let's see, 0.07 cents. And no, I think that that's stupid enough. Yeah, so I can leave that there. But I think that this could potentially be going higher than that. I think that PENGU is just like super, super fun. I love it. I love the PENGUs. So I'm going to adjust that. And yeah, would I trim at 5 cents? I mean, to be honest, I probably should. But maybe not. I don't know. I don't have an order placed or anything, but I probably should. But yeah, at least to trim my position back to be like a risk of $100, you know? So I think that that's kind of reasonable. And we got to be reasonable here. And then so the next one on the list is going to be Uniswap, ticker symbol UNI. And yeah, let's check out the market cap. I do have some news on this one as far as what I did with it, but let's first get over here. Ranked number 25 at Coin Market Cap with a market cap of around $6.3 billion. And that did go up over the past week, as I'm sure we're not surprised. Last week it was at $5.8 billion. Now it's at 6.3, so about a $500 million increase there. So looking great. Let's check out the price over here. Currently trading, let's see, hit the close, I should say, from Friday, September 12th, at a price of 10.186. So 10.186 right there. Looking good, feeling good about it. And it looks like I'm effectively at break even, and I did trim. That's kind of the news that I wanted to share. I basically have a $100 or maybe $101 exposure to Uniswap. I just don't have as much like conviction, or I don't really hear too much about them. So I don't necessarily think this is one that like I need to be like diamond handing or whatever. And actually, like looking at the chart, we are seeing that it's like bumping into a lot of resistance here. With the 50-day simple moving average there at around 1016. We also have this trend line here that I drew kind of approximate that, take it with a grain of salt, but that's around, also around this 236, which is a retracement to the downside, but that's around, let's see if I do extend that forward, that's around 1050, 1047. But yeah, I mean, I think that this could be moving up higher. Where could this be going? This could be going up. But where could this be going down to? I think that's a good question. Just to like do a little temporary fib retracement here. If it does pull back, I could see it coming down to like 975, 960, maybe 969. And since I do hold it, maybe that's, something that I want to consider dip buying at just to get that average down, since I did just trim some. So like 969, and that would still be putting in a higher low. So coming over here, 969 support, and why not just do like a $1 buy? That seems reasonable to me. Just $1, no big deal. And it would just be that, getting my average down. But then, I think that I want to consider more like getting out of the position. Not at break even, at like a 10% profit or something like that. But let's not do that based on percentages. Let's do that based on the chart. So I have 18 over here. And that's, this does look like, pullback breakout to like 16. Maybe for me, I just want a GTFO at 16, So maybe I want to adjust that down to 16 and do that, and I think I'd do an alert, and then I'd have to move out of my wallet into the exchange if it did get up to 16. And then it's like, okay, then there's also like the 18 level there. And then beyond 18, I think that, 20, another level. And then beyond that, let's say 30, just whole dollar numbers. And then, of course, 40. And then looking at the chart, you might think that I'm kind of stupid, but looking at the chart, the high over here is like 43. So, 42.0. Why not? Let's not round up to 69. But those are all some levels that I think that could be trimming out at. But I would probably just exit at 16 to keep the list short, to keep these videos shorter, because this is already like 2.5 hours long. And I can't be doing these such extensive ones. I want to be focused on the ones further up there. But yeah, I think that that's totally good for Uniswap. And so let's move on to the next one on the list, which is a super fun one, and that is Fartcoin, ticker symbol Fartcoin. And let's check out the market cap. Did go up, I believe. It's ranked number 88 now with a market cap of $922 million. So it's less than $1 billion. Could be getting back up to $1 billion. I suspect it will be. But let's just compare that with last week when the market cap was for Fartcoin around $732 million. Now it's at $923. But let's check out that price for Fartcoin. Looking at my doodle, seems like it's doing exactly what I was saying. But the closing price from Friday, September 12th, was at 9.9018, so 0.9018, and up about 20% on that. And so I did trim, actually, as you can see here, for a profit of about 25%. And now I can more aggressively buy back that $100. So it's basically like I bought at like 80 cents, $100, then I bought more at like 69 cents, 80 cents, then I $100, and then I bought more at like 69 cents just because that's funny and it's stupid. And then I trimmed at like 25% profit, $100 out, and I can buy back $100. And so thinking about that, what is a level to the downside that this could be pulling back to? And so I previously had it at 50.69 cents. And so where is that? I don't know that that's going to happen. I think that we might be like breaking out. And so though, let's see the retracement here. I mean, we are bumping into that 50-day simple moving average, which is actually, before I draw this up there, the 50-day simple moving average is at like 92.60. Current price is at like 92.30. Getting rejected there. We did hit a high so far today of like 97.16 cents. So I could have trimmed a little bit higher, but you know, it is what it is. You never sell the exact top. And now we're below where I sold, so that's great. But yeah, I mean, if it's getting rejected from that 50-day simple moving average, let's just put back up that retracement. Maybe it pulls back to the 50% here. That's at like 83 cents. And that's above actually where I had initially bought. Maybe it comes back a little bit lower. I mean, it's not a shit coin, but it's a fart coin. So maybe it comes back a little bit lower. And then, so let's say, hey, let's get back to our roots. 80 cents. So, yeah, because like the 50%, you know, maybe it finds support there, and I think it definitely could, but maybe it comes back a little bit into the meat of this consolidation around 80 cents. And then, you know, it goes higher, and I can just like rinse and repeat. So for this, I'm going to say I want to do 80 cents, dip buy, set it and forget it. No big deal. And then the resistance for this, for me at this point, you know, I don't plan on trimming, so I guess I'll just make this number red, whatever that is. And I can make this because I don't plan on placing an order, because I'm just going to keep that up until 420 because I'm an idiot. Having some fun. But yeah, the next level that I could see this kind of getting rejected at is, and I'm just going to delete that so it's not too cluttered. Maybe, I mean, up over here, that was like 117, $1. I don't know. 117 though, I kind of like that. I might just put a line. Actually, maybe 112, 113. A number that I could have fun with. 117, that's a number I can have fun with. And you know why? Because I can do it like, yeah, it's like, how can I justify the number as something that's stupid? Right there. So that would be like 1.169. Okay, but I would not trim there. Levels, unless I had bought back at 80, then I would trim there. But then other levels like up here, like 169, let's say, have fun with the levels. Up here around 169. And so 1.69. And then beyond that, I think it would really just be like 2, 3, 4, and then 420. But as of right now, I would not plan on trimming until it got to like 420, or exiting until it got to 420. Because, you know, we got to have fun. And Fartcoin's all about having fun. And now let's check out the next one. This is one that I wish I had more of, but, you know, I'm going to be disciplined with it. And so that is going to be Arbitrum. That is ticker symbol ABR. And so let's check out the market cap for Arbitrum. And they are ranked, let's see, it's got to be lower here. It's not on the list. So I got to pull it up over like this. Arbitrum. And so we can see the market cap. Where's the market cap? Right here. Copy that number. Paste it over here. Is that about 2.8 billion? Did go up over the past week. Last week, it was up at 2.5, almost 2.6 billion. Now it's at 2.8 billion. That 4.2 there, like that number. And let's check out the price for Arbitrum. Closing price from Friday, September 12th, was at 54.79. And so feeling good about that. And, I'm up about 10% on my position. My average is around 50 cents. And I accidentally bought $7 worth. Oh, and this, I need to make that yellow because I need to make an adjustment to that. Yeah, and these, I'm not sure. Nope, I think that I need to leave those. But yeah, this, I accidentally had an order left, so I ended up buying $7 worth. Oops. But that's fine. I have less than $100 worth of it, so it's not a big deal. But what I probably want to do is do like a $7 dip buy if it does return to 50 cents. I just want to be stubborn about that. I don't need to be exposing myself to more risk. I do like Arbitrum in the sense that they are being used by Robinhood for tokenization, and so I like that. But I just don't hear too much about them, so I don't really like that, or at least it doesn't really get me too excited, and I don't need to be spreading myself so thin with them. But I don't think I want to have a dip to that level. Let's see, the low over here on September 1st was 46.62 cents. So that would have been potentially filled here. But I don't necessarily think it's going back to that. We do have the 50-day simple moving average at like 48.286 cents. We do have this 382 here, which is at around 48 cents. But maybe it doesn't come down to those levels. So I would just place an order to buy $7 worth at like 50 cents, Oops, wrong one there. And so I'm going to do that there. Yeah, and I can remove that decimal place. I need to drink some water. And so, yeah, 50 cents. Excuse me, I don't know if you heard that. But yeah, 50 cents. And then I would add more aggressively. So did I have that? Yep, $7, 50 cents. I think that's good. But then it also, I think, could be coming down to like 48 cents. So I think I should note that over here. And I would also, be buying that. I would consider that. But then let's consider some levels to the upside. I have $1 marked there. 95 cents here. So maybe what I'd want to do is like, Arbitrum, I think, yeah, $1. I think then like, let's have some fun. We got some levels over here. The highs here, 169. So $1 there, and then I could do like 169. Excuse me, 2. And maybe 2 is where I would actually want to start trimming. So maybe I want to make this one red. And so we have that there. And then $2. So I think that's good. I feel good about that. And then now let's get on to the last one on the list, which is going to be Stellar Lumens, ticker symbol XLM. Let's check out the market cap of this one. Just going to be going back to my list over here. XLM, Stellar, right here, ranked at number 15 at a market cap of about $12.8 billion. And we got that over there. Did go up from last week. Had previously had a market cap of around 11.3 billion. Now it's around 12.8. Again, up about $500 million, like a number of these that I've talked about. Let's check out the chart for Stellar. And we can see that kind of bumping into some resistance around that 50%, the 50-day simple moving average. But we did get a close actually above it yesterday on the 12th, and that close was at a price of 44,830. So 44,830. Oops. Right there. And we can see that I don't have a position in it anymore. And the reason for that is I want to keep this list to 20 different cryptos. Don't want to go above it because it does take me a long time to go over this analysis, especially as I'm diving like deeper into them. I'm starting to think a little bit more critically about the levels. I just can't be spreading myself so thin. So this is going to be the last week that I cover XLM, but I will go over some levels. I did exit my position, I believe for the most part at break even, a little bit in the green. I took out my remainder. I think I had about $91 exposure, and I took out $92.66. And that was then able to roll into ETH buys and, whatever else. But yeah, let's come over to here to consider kind of the levels that I have. So 33 cents, do I think we could be coming down to that? Maybe. That's the 618 here. But we are above the 50-day moving average, simple moving average, SMA. So maybe we do get rejected, pull back down to here. But I also don't think that that's necessarily going to happen. I think that we could come down to around 37, find that as support before we do go higher. So I'll just kind of doodle out how I could see that, maybe doing something like this. So that's kind of what I would look for, maybe a pullback to 36. I think 33 would be greedy. So if we do get a pullback to 36, it seems like a dip buying opportunity. Then maybe we get a rejection around like 44, 45, maybe 50 cents. And then from there, pull back to kind of like retest this downtrend as support, or maybe not even, because if I do extend that, it doesn't really come down. And actually maybe we just compress that doodle that I have and it comes down to, like that, which is aligned there. And then it starts to go up to around 50. Actually, yeah, rejection around 45, pull back to this level around 40, and then maybe up to 50. So I could see that. But yeah, for me, it doesn't really matter. I think that, 50s, whatever, could be getting up to like 75. I, could be getting up to like 80s, maybe a buck, but I just can't spread myself so thin. And this is one where I just don't need to be in it. And so I'm not going to be in it. And so that is really it for that, it for the list. Let's pull up the P&L. I do need to update this so it does include Fartcoin, PENGU, Arbitrum, and I think that would be it. But what we can see looking at the list is where everything's at. XLM, it's no longer there. Kind of dropped off. Let's see, XLM is the X. Somewhere in here, there's a lot of clutter there. Do still have some that are negative. Let's see, LRC. Oh, crap. Some of these I didn't extend into the future, apparently. I thought I extended them to like over here. But let's see which ones. Maybe that's the only one. I've got Trump. Why did Trump not get included? So this. Yeah, crap. I thought I did this for all of them, but I must have screwed up. So let's just do this now. RLC. Let's get that over to here. And yeah, I mean, let's just kind of click through them where they kind of spread out when I started. Let's see, those are, I got Solana right here. Let's extend that out. All right. Doge, it looks like it's there. Let's see, this is kind of crappy. Hopefully that's all of them. I don't really know. Let's just kind of click through them. I think I got all of them. Yep. Oh, got this one. XRP, gotta have that one. All right, so just extending that over. And, you know, where was I over here? I think that's it. I think that those are all good. And so, yeah, we can see a little bit of a pullback on ETH, but we do have others that are kind of taking off, like Solana, like Doge. Feeling good about those. But anyways, this is a long one. Sorry about that, but I do hope it brought some value for you guys. But as always, those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more weekly Crypto Corner Sat Stackers on the channel every single Saturday for the year of 2025. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Have a great rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.